My name is Ellen McPhillip, and I'm the Assistant Dean for Undergraduate Business Programs, and I'm one of the instructors for Management 100. We thought that new freshmen coming into the business school needed a couple of different kinds of experiences that would build stronger bonds between them as a class, a freshman class, but also to build stronger bonds with students that were already here, the upperclassmen. And Management 100 affords us an opportunity to introduce new students to a business curriculum through a very particular lens, one in which ethics and teamwork are the central components of the efforts that the curriculum is sort of built on. We really want students to understand that the decision-making process is not one that simply shows up in your brain and somehow you always get it right, but more importantly, that business decisions are also about people making decisions about important questions of the day. And so, because our student body is so incredibly diverse, with over 25% of our student body being from outside of the U.S., the cultural dynamic and the social dynamics that inform other cultures' understandings of issues of class and race and gender and pollution control and how small businesses should operate and how banks should operate, how government should operate. Those things are all informed by the place from which you are raised. And so allowing a curriculum that would allow young students the opportunity to sort of explore important questions of ethics and see how each other can help the other understand why my decisions are formed in the way they are, we thought that Management 100 afforded us with this opportunity. So I think that young people who are coming into the class think they understand what it means to be in business, but until you're asked the question, what would you do if you are now responsible for someone else's livelihood, then it suddenly becomes a very personal decision. And if you haven't thought through what would you do, what are the consequences of the choices that you make, how is your labor force going to be affected, how are your employees going to think about the business itself, and do they want to be a part of this business? Those are all important questions that I think come out of the larger question about Management 100. The fact that we also root a lot of your activities, your actual hands-on activities in the nonprofit sector, I think does two things. One, it allows young business people, or future business people of the world, to understand that being a good partner in the community is part of a strong business plan, business orientation. And that the moment you are disconnected from the communities in which you operate, your production, your marketing, your employees, then that leaves you open to serious ethical dilemmas. So understanding how to be a good partner in the community, I think, was an essential piece of the conversation. But also, too, the nonprofit sector provides a huge opportunity for internships for our prospective freshmen. So they begin to really see how the new skills that they're learning in marketing and public relations and videography, and these things matter in business. People actually do this for a living. And so you get to see whether or not, is this something I really want to do? Or like, oh no, oh my God, please, I never want to get in front of the camera. I'd much rather work in accounting or finance. So this gives you a chance to sort of test those new skills out. But also, too, to see that the nonprofit world is a business. It's the fact that they don't use the bottom line in terms of profit as the driving force for the decisions that they make. You still need to know that this is a business, and it needs to operate from a business perspective in order for it to operate in a productive capacity long term and in the short term. So in a long-winded way, the Management 100 exercise allows the next generation of decision makers in the business world to see a macro understanding of the community they're about to operate in, and then define for themselves in a micro way, what's my moral compass? How do I want my employees to think about me? How do I want to operate in a business setting? And what do I want to leave as my, what do I want to use as my fundamental compass as I move forward?
I just started teaching Management 100 this semester. I took an early retirement from IBM, where I had been the general manager for IBM Miami for the past 4 years. I had been with IBM for 19 years, and then had been a management consultant for Price Waterhouse prior to that, and then had worked with AT&T. So I have almost 30 years in the technology industry, and I'm trying to take a lot of those lessons.
My name is Cheryl Alonso. I teach the Management 100 for the first time this year. It was a newly created class that started last year, and this is my first time teaching it. I've taught here at the university for 12 years, and before that I was a vice president of a hospital, and I'm just finishing my PhD.
Good morning, I'm Dr. Steve Allman. I'm a professor in the School of Business, and I also have an appointment in the School of Medicine, and I'm a professor of the Management 100 course.